You need to know what their problem is, right? You just giving them, even if you tell them everything that you do, point A, point B, C, blah, 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 this is the way it's going to work, but you don't know what their problem is. You're sort of just talking because you may talk about things that doesn't have anything to really do with them. They really don't care.
You're an inspiration to our entire organization.
Welcome to the Gym Marketing Made Simple podcast. We're going to be talking the done-for-you marketing and sales strategies proven to work with boutique fitness gyms to increase quality lead flow and grow your revenue. Don't try to be a professional marketer and waste tons of money. Let the experts at Lasso do it for you. And now, here are your hosts, Blake Ruff and Sherman Merritt.
All right, guys, here we go. Another episode of Gym Marketing Made Simple with Blake and Sherman. Guys, we're excited to chat with you this week because we're going to be talking about offers, right? And I want to be clear, very clear, crystal clear. When I say offers, I do not mean discounts. Here at Lasso, we don't ask people to discount their rates ever. We're not going to tell you to, make less money. But I'm going to let Blake jump off with that. I just wanted to sort of make sure you're clear when you hear offers. Don't turn it off, think like, oh, he's going to tell me to lower my prices. No, we're just talking about the way that you engage people to get offline and in the gym. So, Blake.
Yeah, so I think this is a hot topic lately, or maybe just a hot topic because we're in the marketing world, is people, you have free trials, 5 for 5 days free, 2 weeks free, give a month free, book a discovery call, like 90 days, 60 days, 6 week, like, I don't know, who even knows what else there is these days. Win a year membership, right? So what's working and what's not working? So let's just take a step back first and think, okay, what type of person do you want in your gym? And anytime you do, and we say this all the time, anytime you do say free, the person seeing that is essentially opting in for something for free. There's not any monetary buy-in other than simply their time. So they're not highly committed to it, and they're not thinking long term. They're simply thinking, I'm going to give this a shot for 1, 5, 7, or 14 days, or even 1 month, right? So those are not your ideal clients, anyways, and they're probably people that do free trials a lot. If you probably ask them, they've probably done a lot of free trials at a lot of places, and they can't make up their mind, and they don't essentially know what they're looking for. Whereas, and then if you do like a giveaway, for example, right? Oh, it's still along the lines of free. Everybody that's opting into that is free, looking for free, right? Looking for a free year, 6 months or whatever. Everybody else that doesn't win that is just going to be like, no, I'm like, all I wanted was the free thing, right? Like maybe you convert 1 or 2, but you have to look at, you gave away, let's say your member's $200 and it's a 12-month membership, give away $2,400. Are you going to make that back with other people? And if not, then, granted, it didn't cost you any. Well, that's not true. Cost you advertising dollars if you advertise for it. So there is a cost to it. The big thing with offers is you want to make sure that you're getting people in, thinking longer term, and having a process to, I don't want to say like overly qualify them, or just make sure they're the right fit so you're not wasting your time driving to the gym all the time. So what we found is, like, I'll just be blunt, is saying like doing, something like a 3-month kind of like program, because 3 months, and if you go back to Atomic Habits, it takes about 100 days to really create a habit. So if they commit to 100 days, and we have one of our coaches talked about when he signs people up, your goal is to just show up 36 times. If you can show up 36 times to the gym, we know that you're going to get results. Anything less than 36, though, don't talk about how you didn't get results here, because it takes at least 36 check-ins. That way they have a variable of like, I need to do X, right? Outside of that, though, when we're doing 1 class, 5 classes or whatever, people just don't really have that much buy-in. And so the offer is crucial. on the flip side of it too, having a compelling offer, like everybody does free trials. You're not standing out and you're not being any different by talking about come in for a free trial or a free consult or whatever. Like it doesn't really stand out and it's not that compelling. It doesn't spike somebody's interest. So if you think about like when you're running an ad, they're going to see the image and then they're going to see the headline, which the headline should probably be your offer. And then they're going to see the copy. So the image stops them, the headline grabs their attention, and then the copy just gives authority or trust to what you're doing, right? Sherman, what do you add to that?
Yeah. So in addition to that, the offer, guys, most people. So just because you have an offer out there, now I want to be clear. I am not talking about the bait and switch. I'm not talking about it at all. So I want to be clear about that. But let's just say you're running a 12-week offer and someone comes in and you realize that, you know what, something else may be the best thing for them. We always recommend then you offer whatever the best solution is for them, right? And then if there's one of those people that's wired a certain way and say, hey, I thought I was coming in here for a 12-week offer, don't try to sell me anything else. Well, then you try to, sell them the 12-week offer. But most people, the offer and the picture and the copy gets them in, but once they're sitting in front of you, guys, they don't remember the picture that was on. They don't remember the copy exactly. The copy moved them. The picture excited them. Now, when they're sitting in front of you talking about their goals, you have the obligation to make sure that you're doing the best thing for them, right? So just because you have an offer out there doesn't mean you have to sell it to the person when they comes in if it's not the best thing for them, right? And a lot of times we hear that, someone will be like, well, if I do that offer, what if they don't like it or something like that? Guys, it's okay, because at the end of the day, it is our job as gym owners to make sure we do the best thing for the client. So if you're running a 12-week offer, someone comes in and they're like, I can't, 12 weeks for whatever reason, that's a little too long. Can I just start off with a couple months of personal training? You're not going to turn them away and say, well, no, it has to be 3 months. Guys, do what's best for the clients. Always do what's best for the clients. But don't be so stuck on, oh, well, if I put out this offer, that's the only thing I can talk about. You have to make sure that you are going to solve this client's problem, and you explain that to them when they come in. And most people are totally okay with it, guys. So don't get so stuck on the offer that you're afraid to pivot if you have to, right?
And I think a big thing too, Sherman, is like people get so hung up on the offer, even if it's a great offer, that like, oh, well, they're coming in and then, I want to like, can we add nutrition to the like the copy? And like, had somebody recently, granted they're new, is just like, well, I have a doctor that I can prescribe this and then do, weight loss protocol. I'm like, I might sound dumb, but like I've had a gym for 10 years and I don't even know what the doctor's weight loss protocol would be. How is somebody else going to know that? Right? Like just get the whole goal, guys, of an offer of your ads is to get them in front of you. It's not to sell them from day one of seeing the ad, right? The whole goal is to give you more people to talk to. Now, granted, like I said earlier, like if you got 400 members, pre-qualify them and make sure they're like ready to go tomorrow, right? Other than that, like you need more people to talk to sell to. Yeah. And so don't get so hung up in like, this has to go over every single detail of my program. And it's not saying that it doesn't say that I do 1-to-5 ratio, and it says 1 to 4. Like people don't remember that stuff. At the end of the day, it's a compelling offer to get people in front of you. So then you become the doctor. Hey, Sherman, man, tell me we should do a podcast of just like mock NSIs
role play
sometime.
Yeah.
But Sherman, man, I saw you come in, saw you showed interest. Thanks for showing interest in our strength program. Tell me, man, what you come in today for? What are you struggling with, dude? And then diving into that, and then from there, using the information that they tell you to then be the doctor and the professional that you are, and prescribing them what works best. And I think so many people get hung up in like, well, it's not perfectly exactly what we do. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, it's what gets people in the door. You're not bait and switching them like the old days. Come try our free 6-week. Oh, by the way, it's $5,000 when you come in, but you'll get all your money back if you complete 13,000 steps, right? It's nothing like that. It's getting people in the door that are saying, A, I have a problem. I haven't found the solution. And it sounds like by your ad, you might have the solution for me. And again, like we've said a million times, we don't say anything's for free. So we're not misleading them.
Yeah, no, I agree with that wholeheartedly. I think that's a big one. The offer has to entice people in the door first and foremost. And once it does that, it's sort of on you as as a person trying to solve their problem to do what's best for the client always, every single time. Even if you may have to pivot a little bit from the offer, whatever that is. And here's the thing, guys, like the offer needs to be clear, right? It needs to be sort of concise so people can at least know when they read it, okay, I see what they're trying to get at. I like that. But as Blake mentioned briefly earlier, we don't want to have everything that you do in the offer, right? Check-ins, in-body scans, nutrition coaching, all of that stuff. All of that does not need to be in the ad. Now, we go back, 7-8 years ago, we used to put all that stuff in there. We put exactly what they got, bullet point by bullet point, just so people can know. But we've sort of evolved past that because, again, if we put too much stuff, they're going to say, man, I don't even know what that is. Next thing you know, they're Googling, what is an in-body scan? And now they're thinking like, oh, okay. No, we want to do something that is clear and concise so that when you get them in, you sign them up for what they need that you offer at the gym, right? That is key, guys. So your offer doesn't need to be uber complicated. It doesn't need to have every bullet point. Again, I would even advise you, if someone reaches out, you don't need to give them all that info until they're sitting down in front of you so you can talk about the value that you'll be able to add. But doing that over a text message or phone, it is very difficult, almost impossible for the average, gym person.
Sherman, I think going forward, we should create a tagline for every single episode. So I'll do this one, and then next one, you can get the next one. So this one is, don't make people burn mental calories trying to come in the gym. You want them to burn calories when they're actually in the gym working out, right? What I mean by that, if you make them overthink, like Sherman said, I got to go to Google and see what weight loss protocol is, right? Like I would probably even have to do it. Like, is this semaglutide? Is this Ozempic? Is this like, does this mean nutrition? Like, I honestly don't know. And they diverted from yours, which is just an extra step. You made them burn mental calories doing so. Simple. Keep it simple and to the point. You want them to burn calories when they're actually working out. Don't put friction between them coming in the door to sit down with you. And make them have the friction point when they're sitting down from you and making them sign up and the price and selling them on a high thing. And then, if you have to lower sell them, that's fine. But that's my tagline for this one, is to not make people burn mental calories trying to come in your gym. Don't make it overly difficult. You want them to burn calories when they are in the gym.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I believe, that's a good tagline. You're more creative with that stuff than me, so
well, you better work on it for the next one.
I know. I gotta start thinking about it. Tagline.
But you always think about it. You like listen to a podcast. You're like, that one that hit home. That like one liner, right?
Yeah. No, but you're right though. Yeah, it needs to be clear. It needs to be to the point. Because here's the thing, guys. When there's a percentage of people, just the way they're wired, they're gonna say, "Well, just give me all the info. Just send it to me." Just stay away from that, guys, right? You stay away from that. Talk about, a little bit about what you do, but you need to try to get them in front of you so that you can really dive into the value of your program. And more importantly, you need to know what their problem is, right? You just giving them, even if you tell them everything that you do, point A, point B, C, blah, 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 this is the way it's going to work, but you don't know what their problem is. You're sort of just talking because you may talk about things that doesn't have anything to really do with them. They really don't care. But you don't know that until you sit down, talk with them. Okay, you guys can get me on the sort of sales train. When you're sitting down in the intro, right? Once you figure out what that person's problem is, from that point forward, the only thing you talk about is how your gym solves that problem. Example, if Blake comes to me and says, hey, I want to lose, 10, 15 pounds, man, over the next few months, I got a trip coming up, I'm going to say, okay, Blake, this is how we help people lose 10 pounds. This is how we've done it over the last 13 years. And then I'm going to say, Blake, are you ready to go? After I've explained to him how we do that, I'm not going to take Blake out and say, Blake, look at these Rogue Echo bikes. Blake, we do double unders and snatches. Blake doesn't care about that. He wants to know, how can this place help me lose 15 pounds? That's the only thing he cares about. And I'm going to talk about how we've done that, how we do that, and how we would do it for him. That's the only thing that matters. Because at times I hear people talking about all this stuff that this person doesn't care about because they're just sort of in a flow. That's just quote unquote how they do things, but it's not necessarily the right way. Once you figure out what someone's problem is, you dive into that and talk about how your gym is the solution, right? So figure out the problem, present your gym as a solution. You will change more lives and you'll make more money, which is a win-win for everyone. So, Blake, you have anything to add to that?
No.
All right.
Let's do it.
All right, then, guys. Well, hope we added a lot of value to you guys this time. So, as usual, tell a friend to tune in, and we will chat with you guys next week. All right.
Yeah. Thank you for listening to the Gym Marketing Made Simple podcast with Blake Ruff and Sherman Merricks. We hope you enjoyed. We believe marketing should increase revenue and not waste money. So book your free call today. Head on over to lassoframework.com. That's LASSOFRAMEWORK.com and find the right words, get more customers, and increase your revenue. We'll see you here next time.